Hey man, where'd your Steelers wall go?
I'm showing the same amount of effort for my team as George Pickens does on the play.
Oh my God, we did it!
My dick is big, my dick is wide, my dick is huge.
That's right. Super Bowl, here we come.
So you're saying there's a chance?
We're ready to tear this baby up. Why? Good afternoon, football fans, and welcome to this week's episode of the Trajan Sportcast. I am your host, professional wrestler and Kansas City Chiefs fanatic. Finally, a win for the Kansas City Chiefs fanatic. I've been waiting so long. Christian Temple, joined alongside, as always, by the heavily censored and blurred out, and apparently a terrible towel trashing instead of twirling Trajan. Welcome back to the. I about said welcome back to the win column, but no, that was just me. That was just me. The first quarter, you had to feel pretty good, though, right?
Yeah, felt great.
That was an honest mistake, and I feel terrible now. That was low even for me. It would have been worse if I actually meant it, but I truly did not. God, yeah, that was it was a fun week for some, and it was a very disheartening week for others. But
I got an idea. Let's just talk about first quarters, or maybe first halves.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna say I'd be okay with talking about a first quarter because the boy that would keep me from talking about some other players on my team, which I'll believe me, it's not all sunshine and rainbows with the victory this week against the Patriots, but at least it was a better result than another game against the Patriots. So, without further ado, let's jump right into this one right now. Kansas City Chiefs go into Gillette Stadium and defeat the New England Patriots with a final score of 27-17, and it's one of those games where it should have been a lot better score, but once again, it just comes down to the fact that they just find new and unexciting ways to shoot themselves in the foot, and whether it be an interception that bounces right off your hands, or the fact that your kicker has been perfect all year long and he finally misses his first kick. I'll give him this. It was the first time he missed all year, and he was perfect for the rest of the day. So I'm not going to harbor any ill will towards Harrison Butker, especially how historically clutch he has been in the regular season and in the playoffs in the past. But let us start with Patrick Mahomes, 27 of 37, 305 yards. Good lord, if that was only 100 yards for that. 305 yards, and interesting stat here. Which quarterback in the league leads the league for most total yards? I never would have guessed it is actually Patrick Mahomes. He does not lead in passing yards. Now, mind you, it does not lead in passing yards, but he does lead in total yards. Two touchdowns, two interceptions. That was I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I know you're waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. I am not going to go off on Kadarius Toney like I have on other receivers, but good heavens, it hit you in the hands.
Not just the hands, like the hands where you perfectly want it on a crossing route.
It hit you in the hands. And
Not hands back here, hands right here.
It was. Um, honestly, we hopefully it's one of those deals where he shakes it off and maybe he shows us something later in the year, especially with the news coming out that Sky Moore has officially been put on season-ending IR.
Really?
Yep, we've got Richie James coming back to the lineup as well as Justin Ross, so now's the opportunity for one, if not both of them, to step up. Speaking of stepping up, though, it was announced before the game that Isaiah Pacheco would be out for this game. So in steps Jerick McKinnon. as well as one Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Ever since his rookie year, he showed some flashes in his rookie year, but ever since then, there's always that one game where he shows what his true potential could actually be. He's consistently inconsistent. But I will have to say, that touchdown catch in the back of the end zone, especially for a guy that short, was pretty impressive. He got some good height up in the back of the end zone to come down with that. So hats off to him for that. Rashee Rice getting a touchdown as well, which actually set a new Chiefs receiver rookie record. I did not know that. I thought Tyreek Hill had that one hook, line, and sinker, but no, Rashee Rice. And the funny thing is, the pass didn't even come from Mahomes on that touchdown pass. It came from Jerick McKinnon, who was 1 for 1 for 4 yards and 1 touchdown pass.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat that. His QBR was 87.9. Amazing. As far as production in the rushing game, I mean, it's really nothing to write home about. Edwards-Helaire had 13 carries for 37 yards. It wasn't great. His biggest play, though, was receiving when he had a 48-yard screen pass that helped get them into scoring position early in the game. Noah Gray with 2 catches for 37 yards, one of which 32 yards. Justin Watson had a clutch third down catch for 31 yards. Blake Bell, another one that you just you want to root for him so bad, but then he got straight up bullied away from the ball on one of the interceptions there too. So perhaps Mahomes could have put that one in a better position, but yeah, the one with Kadarius Toney basically bobbling it up in the air and getting it to exactly that was all on him 100%. But Rashee Rice continued showing what he can do. 9 receptions on 9 targets for 91 yards. That's that close to getting another 100-yard receiving deal. As far as the defense, pretty solid day. Willie Gay got an interception, a key interception that almost turned into a pick 6, but that was the interception that led to that Clyde Edwards-Helaire touchdown. 4 sacks on the day, one from Derek Nottie, Jalen Watson, Drew Tranquill, and Charles Omenihu. And I say, Drew Tranquill this year has been absolutely phenomenal. He's turned it up to a whole nother level, more than I think I ever saw with him as a Los Angeles Charger, truthfully. So he's definitely got playing with a chip on his shoulder, trying to show that he still has what it takes to be a top linebacker in this league. Yeah, all in all, I mean, besides the mistakes, the missed field goal, the turnovers, the drops, everything too, it's crazy. It's like I give these receivers all this crap. Rashee Rice still leads the team in drops, and he's like the one I love the most. But he's young.
Perfect on the day, though.
Yeah, he was perfect on the day today, and he's young, so you kind of expected that from him. These other guys, they've been in the league for a few years, so that's when it really gets frustrating too. Even Travis Kelce had a key drop in the back of the end zone too. So, but hey,
but it was pass interference on that one play.
Truthfully, it probably should have been, but if he didn't flop and make it that painfully obvious, I was like, He should have just let him run into him and just put the arms up in the air, because you don't got to flop. All you got to do is just put the arms up in the air nowadays. It seems like, and you get a flag. I just don't understand it. Or you got a point, exactly. There you go. Does he learn anything from Mahomes? We can have fun with that because they won. But yeah, this was a nice way to stop the skid that was going on. And then, obviously, next week, Christmas Day, Monday afternoon, got a chance to clinch the division for an 8th consecutive time. And before we get to your game, which I'm sure you're just dying to talk about, I got an interesting stat for you. In 2015, who led the division, the AFC West, for the most division titles?
It was probably Denver.
Okay. Who else?
Oh, were they all tied?
the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers were all tied at 15 division titles, and the Chiefs were at 8. Fast forward 7 years, the Chiefs have won 7 straight division titles. And on Christmas Day, against the Las Vegas Raiders, at home at Arrowhead, they have a chance to do an unprecedented in this division, their 8th consecutive AFC West title, and finally, after all these years, take the lead and have the most division titles in the AFC West. So, it may just seem like another game to some, but this one's got a lot riding on it too, especially considering the Chiefs also have an outside chance of getting the first round bye too. There's a lot of things that got to go right, but one of those things that they can control is if they win or lose. So if they get the win this week, I think it'd be very fitting on Christmas Day against the Raiders that they take the lead in most division titles in the AFC West. So, on to your game, sir. But before we do that, let's make sure we get the I don't want to talk about it in here too. Because I just know you're just dying to talk about it right now. So the floor is yours.
Well, here, I actually have a guest host for this today.
Oh.
I'm just going to put this right here so you can see it. It's a trash can. It's where we're at right now. Okay, so once again, family matters came in the way of me watching this game, thank God. I listened to the first quarter, and I walk into the family Christmas party thinking, we got this. Here we go. I can just have a nice, relaxing evening. We're up 13-0. Surely the lowly Colts won't be able to come back and beat us. Oh, yeah, they did. So I'm eating and figured this game is probably over by now, so I could check the score. And, it's 30-13. We scored all our points in the first half and didn't do anything in the second. I would say even we did all that in the first quarter and few minutes in, basically. We got to talk about suspension as well. KZ is suspended for the year for a hit. I agree with the penalty. I get it. But a suspension for the year? I mean, I know it's end of the season. It's only 3 games left. But 3-game suspension for that...
Not only that, but he was immediately ejected from the game. I mean, there was no hesitation on the part of the officials to throw him out.
Yeah, it's just, it's sad. But as Brady said, that's on the quarterback, I think, and I will agree with Brady because I'm a Steelers fan.
So something doesn't quite compute with that statement, but I'll let it slide.
Now I can agree with Brady. He became okay in my books when he became a Buccaneer. Anyways, no. So we got Mitchell Trubisky, who was benched. Yes, benched for Mason Rudolph. How bad do you have to be benched for Mason Rudolph? I don't know, but apparently it's Mitch Trubisky level. 1 TD, 2 interceptions, 2 bad interceptions, breaking interceptions, 169 yards, 16 for 23. I mean, he didn't do a lot of incompletions, but he didn't do much either. Jaylen Warren was the lead rusher with 40 yards. Najee had 33 yards and another back-breaking fumble. Deontay Johnson had 62 yards, 4 receptions. George Pickens had touchdown. 47 yards. I had a touchdown, yeah. George Pickens was also a part of that interception because he has bitch hands. I don't know. It's just I am very well over George Pickens right now. He has to do a lot this offseason to restore him. in my favor. The lack of effort on plays, just totally giving up on a block when I'm not going to say Jalen Warren 100% would have had a touchdown, but I'm going to say 99.9% have a touchdown. Um, this whole team's pathetic. They're sad. Our defense, supposedly this great defense, gives up 30 points to Gardner Minshew, a journeyman. TJ Watt had a great first half, but they just didn't have to. They ran the ball basically second half and didn't have to do anything. Didn't have to rush them. 170 yards on the ground, 202 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's just a very sad state of affairs for the Steelers organization.
Is it more sad the fact that they actually still have a chance to get a playoff spot?
Let me put it this way. Before the Arizona Cardinals game, we had an 80% chance of making the playoffs. Turns out that 20% chance of not making the playoffs was more right than the 80%.
What does
we
what
are
does
now
that...
at like a 6% chance of making the playoffs.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
So
there is a tough schedule ahead of you. That's
we
putting
have
it lightly.
Baltimore. We have the Seahawks, which just beat the Eagles,
Mm-hmm.
and then we also have the Ravens to end out the year. Maybe the Chiefs drop a few games and Dolphins drop a few games, and they have the number 1 seed locked, and they rest players. It's the only way we win that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think we lose out. I'm saying it right now. Tomlin's record's done this year. We are 7-10.
7-10, man.
7-10.
End the season with a whimper instead of a roar. That'd be.
Oh yeah. It's over.
You and I kind of discussed this off camera a few hours ago too. Is it time for full scale rebuild with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Not even throwing the question if Tomlin stays this year. Obviously,
Tomlin.
You probably want a fresh face at OC, understandable. But is it time to clean slate, just rebuild the team itself, offense or defense?
I think defense is good. I think mostly they're just kind of defeated this year. And we've had a lot of injuries in our secondary and our linebacker core. We're like on our 4th string in our linebacker. Mm-hmm. So that hurts. I mean, you got still Minka, who actually left the game with an injury, and TJ and Cam Hayward there, but I just don't know what the answer is on offense. I don't know if Kenny Pickett's the guy. I'm going to say you give him a new year with a new offensive coordinator. See what he does. But
hopefully one that plays to his strengths instead of trying to overcomplicate the process and do too much when the situation does not call for too much.
I will put this. We don't need a rebuild, a total rebuild. We don't need to break it down to the ground. Steelers don't do rebuilds. We will put out a somewhat competitive team, but I think we just need new blood on offensive coordinator, and that would solve a lot of things.
It will be interesting this coming offseason, the moves in the executive branch the Steelers will make, as well as the issues they may address with the offensive line, which has not been consistent. What will they do with the wide receiver room? Will they go out and get someone else? Will they give the current core another chance if they can stay healthy? I mean, one of the names that you don't hear very often, which is kind of surprising because I figured he'd have a bigger part of all this, is Pat Freiermuth. I mean, have they just given up on giving him more opportunities. I mean, he was only targeted, what?
Four times.
Four times, which he caught 3 of them still. But, I mean, that's a tight end right there, and a very talented one. I always thought so.
Yeah, I thought so too. But apparently, middle of the field is just who goes there. I mean, it's not like these elite quarterbacks had tight ends that they always threw to. You know, you had Tom Brady all these years with Gronk. For the longest time, Big Ben had Heath Miller.
Mm-hmm.
He would always rely on his tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's. I've given up on this year. That's what I'm gonna say.
I completely understand. Well, before you completely give up on this episode, you mentioned the Steelers play the Bengals. It is looks like at Acrisure. Battle of the backup quarterbacks. Although Jake Browning has shown some stuff of what he can do. Although you could probably chalk that up to him playing pissed off against the team that cut him previously in the Minnesota Vikings. But showing Cincinnati is only 2-point favorites. I mean, got a 3:30 game on Saturday. If there's any time for the defense to try to step up, this would be a good time against a division rival, I'd say.
It would be, but we're still 7-7.
I'm trying to hype this up, trying to make it more competitive and all that too. I mean,
I can't. You've seen this team this year.
I have, and the fact that Mason Rudolph is going to be starting too. That's not really screaming hope for me either. So
you could even beat the Lions in a game, the COVID game with Big Ben out, when they were winless. We were there. We gave them a half a win.
The first tie, their first non-loss of that season. It was a tie, and yeah,
no,
I remember that well. Well, and I mentioned earlier myself, the Chiefs have a chance to wrap up the AFC West for the 8th consecutive year, taking on our old friend, the Antonio Pierce-led Las Vegas Raiders at Arrowhead Stadium. They've got a lot of faith in the Chiefs. Apparently, they've got them listed as 10-point favorites. It's going to be a noon game. It's going to be a rainy game. At least last I checked on the forecast here. So, boys, this is your chance. If you really want that 1 seed, you got to do your part. You got to win these games, and this is a winnable game. So, we'll
you want to know some
brings
gambling
their best
advice?
Oh,
some gambling advice.
Yeah.
Mortgage the house, bet on the Raiders.
Just show up with a Brinks truck to Vegas and be like, you know what I'm here for.
Exactly. Raiders win this one.
Oh man, you tried to get me to, or I tried to get you to bet with me previously about this one, and you couldn't do it. So I know you're not serious about that. You're not sincere. Just like I know you're not sincere about the Steelers losing. You know they got the chance with the Bengals here. One might say they got this. Might. Boy,
I appreciate that.
Boy, wouldn't that be hilarious if that actually worked? worked against me actually. All right. Well, yes, week 14 is in the books. Week 15, or excuse me, no, week 15 is in the books. This is week 16. This still throws me off that there's 18 weeks in the NFL. It makes no sense. Which means that next week will be the return of the progress report, which is going to be a little different. So, the teams that are eliminated will obviously go to the trash pile. The teams that are meh are the ones that are barely hanging on by a thread. The meh teams are the ones that, the odds might be in their favor, maybe not. We'll see. Playoff contenders are obviously the ones that are locked into a playoff spot, as well as the Super Bowl contenders, which I think some changes might be made, maybe not. We'll see how it goes after this week shakes out. A lot of exciting matchups to go, and we look forward to seeing every single one of you next week for the report. Trajan, any final thoughts before we sign off today?
Go Bills.
Go. Going back to that again, are we?
Going back to that.
God, the Bills actually do look scary. The way they whooped on the Cowboys. Oof. I I am definitely not looking forward if that comes to pass if we play them again in the playoffs. But on that note, thank you everybody so much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Let us know down below who's going to be in, who's going to be out. Can the Steelers pull it off? We'd love to hear from you. This is Temple and Trajan signing off. That time I heard the crying in the background. We'll do it one more time. All right.
Quiet upstairs. Quiet for just a second.